So I can see a parallel really between the Ukraine situation and what's happening in the Middle East. I mean, we now have two wars, if not three, if you include Nagorno-Karabakh in Armenia. And China doesn't want to take a stand in any of these situations where Russia is also somewhat involved. I mean, it was involved in Syria. I wouldn't say it's involved in the Middle East, the current Middle East crisis. But, certainly in Ukraine, Russia is the aggressor. And China has refused to condemn this aggression and say that both parties need to talk, which is not at all what Europeans particularly have been expecting. So again, I mean, you've got this Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, the third, only 22 state leaders and versus, I think, 39 last time. 10 European heads of state and government were there in 2019. That shows also the different situation we're in with, as Martin said, Vladimir Putin as the guest of honor, pretty much, and others, not so significant leaders. I mean, last time you had the Prime Minister of Italy, for example. Of course, none of the G7 members did attend. And the message of Xi Jinping towards the world and towards those people following the Belt and Road Forum, which is perhaps not everybody's priority these days, is that we're talking to the global south. The Belt and Road is not just for a happy few; it's for everybody. It's not a Chinese plan; it's a global plan, which, of course, I mean, as a European, I find slightly surprising because originally, as you recall, I mean, Europe was the final destination of the Belt and Road at the very early stage. Now, I mean, certainly you've got only two European leaders, and the final destination seems to be more like, Africa, Latin America, the Middle East.
So, Philippe, to your point, 10 years on, what kind of animal would you say Belt and Road is? Is it a counter-narrative to these competing trade deals like RCEP and CPTPP? Is it ostensibly a commercial entity, a modern-day Silk Route, or does it have ostensibly strategic overtones, and this is aimed at China building a sphere of influence?
Definitely, I would agree with your last point. It's a strategy, and the 2 points that the Chinese authorities have been putting forward are, first of all, it's a road for everyone, and secondly, it's going to be a green Silk Road. So these are the two messages they are passing to try to bring a positive note to this Belt and Road Forum, which, apart from anything else, was the usual sort of grand, event and demonstration of strength, and also, the close relationship with Vladimir Putin, who had not traveled abroad since the start of the war in Ukraine. And again, China, of course, didn't call Russia the friend forever or something like this, but still insisted on the deep friendship between Presidents Xi and Putin. And of course, this is very worrying to Europeans. I mean, we've had a number of European leaders visiting China. The High Representative for External Affairs of the EU was in China a few days ago, and he tried to say, well, to the Chinese, look, let's try to let's see Europe as a geopolitical entity. It's not just a market. And by the way, we do have a huge trade deficit, so please do something about it, which is also why we are, considering sanctions on EVs and other things. So the relationship is not very smooth, but it seems that, neither America nor the EU, the West, to be honest, is no longer China's priority. The priority is the global South.